How's it going, everybody? Welcome to round one of the Gaithersburg Sunday MSS for the Ultra Series. My name is Eric Bartlett, and I'm joined on the mic by Rajan Ball. How you doing, Rajan?
I'm doing great, Eric. How are you?
I'm good. We're ready to get into this round one here. We got Cameron Kicak going up against Paul Chua.
We missed the teams.
We missed the team preview.
I think we know him. So Cameron has Dialga, Fini, Zapdos, something.
Yeah.
Paul has the team that he piloted to, I think, second place at Atlantic City, which is Ultra Necrozma, Groudon, Jumpluff, Tapu Lele, other stuff.
Some kind of Psy Spam stuff.
Psy Spam versus Dialga Ogre, I believe, with Kangaskhan now we see.
Yeah, Kangaskhan, I believe, is a new edition. Yeah.
I don't know if it's new, but I definitely know I didn't remember seeing it.
Yeah. I don't know how exactly new it is. This is a team he hasn't really used in a while, but a team that he is very, I would say, infamous for.
So something important to note is that, and while I'm sorry, but the Dialga's pressure went before the Salamence' Intimidate, which is atypical. Salamence is base 100 speed, Dialga's base 90, so unless Paul's Salamence is extraordinarily slow, we have a suspicion as to Dialga's item.
Yeah, but looks to be Choice Scarf.
Just wanted to note that.
Yeah.
Looking at Kangaskhan Dialga leads versus Paul's Salamence and Necrozma. I'm sorry. I can't look at the names right now. I just know what it is. If we're looking at So what we've been seeing from the Psy Spam teams lately is that the Ultra Necrozmas, that these Necrozmas tend to be Ultra Necrozma, and they tend to be very, very, very bulky.
Yes.
So wouldn't be surprised if in an Ultra Necrozma state it could eat a Dragon Pulse from Dialga.
Yeah.
Considering how much bulk has been happening. But
yeah, and whether or not Paul actually decides he wants to Ultra Burst this turn one in preparation of a potential Dragon type attack coming out. But, Paul, smart, probably knowing that this is, that Scarf Dialga probably noted the pressure change, or the pressure interaction at the beginning of the game. Just double protecting, just to see what Cameron was going to click. It looks like he's going to click Draco Meteor, so possibly Ultra Bursting, not the best call here, to avoid getting hit by a Draco Meteor, but also dodging the, not the Fake Out, but it just went for a double edge turn one. And Paul staying in normal form with his Salamence to possibly preserve that Intimidate, but he's going to switch that Salamence out here going into, we'll see when it comes
probably
out.
a Tapu Lele or Stack Attack, something that
comes
eats a
in here.
Draco.
Yeah,
I think that's a very smart switch on Paul's end. If he noted that Cameron's Dialga is most likely Choice Scarf, then keeping the Necrozma in its base form and then switching Salamence out preserved it against that, but it is possible that Cameron covers that with an attack into the Salamence as well, but he goes straight for the bite. Which has a 51% chance to flinch. Extraordinarily frustrating.
Yeah.
See if he gets it.
Not going to do a whole lot of damage there, but the flinch could be potentially annoying. Earth Power just going to go into the Dialga. This will do a bit of damage. Oh,
a lot of damage.
Wow.
Yeah. It's still specially offensive. The special defense drop probably doesn't come into play too much right now.
It still looks like a healthy 2-hit KO.
Wow. It's fun to see when the base form Necrozma actually goes for the special attacks. Even though people tend to underestimate how much damage it'll actually do in the base form against super effective targets. And I think Paul is fine sacrificing a bit of the damage reduction in order to be able to stay safely in front of the Dialga. Cameron looks like he's in a bit of a pickle right now. Dialga about to take a knockout from the Earth Power and lock in the Draco Meteor. So we rightfully see him switching it out.
Yeah, this is definitely a way better position for Paul because he just has not only the types advantage here, however, his Stack Attack does have to be careful, potential low kick from the Kangaskhan, but possibly potentially able to live an attack from that Kangaskhan, even with the Intimidate drop that Salamence got in earlier. He still has the option to switch that in if he wants to, and with these two Pokemon here on the field, he also does have the opportunity to go for maybe some form of speed control this turn with either a Trick Room with that Stack Attack, or just decide to switch it out here, potentially anticipating the low kick. I would anticipate Salamence to come back in here.
Back at -2. Shiny Kyogre looking strong against this board state, but if we see a bite from the Kangaskhan into Necrozma without the Necrozma Ultra Bursting, this could be a pretty interesting position if Cameron gets that Kyogre in safely. Kangaskhan's at -2 right now, -1 before the stack switch in, so I don't even think the low kick would have knocked it out. Photon Geyser comes in, most likely into the Kangaskhan. Shouldn't knock it out by any means, especially in the base form. Not even a 2-hit KO necessarily. It could be rolls, but I don't think it is. The Kyogre on Cameron's side is looking like it can do a lot of damage. However, a double edge plus an ultra bursted Photon Geyser from the Kyogre into the Kyogre would probably knock it out since there's no Intimidate coming from Cameron.
Yeah, also Paul does have that option to switch in that Groudon since Cameron doesn't have the option for something like a Rayquaza on his side of the field, so Groudon switching in would be much more safe in comparison to having a Rayquaza on the other side of the field. So that's always an option. I'm curious as to see when Paul, or if Paul, is going to decide to Ultra Burst this Necrozma, because obviously, waiting is still a valid option considering we do have this Dialga still in the back, but I'm wondering, like, if he's waiting for this Dialga just to go down, and if it does, I feel like he would be safe to go for that Ultra Burst option. But this Dialga's coming back in here now. Kyogre also making a switch out.
It's a very risky double switch on Cameron's end. We get to see his 4th Pokemon. It being Tapu Fini, he might be going for a potential Heal Pulse or something onto Dialga, wanting to set up his board position like that. But if anything went into the Kangaskhan slot, I don't really see the Dialga making it out of this turn. Ice Beam was looking like it might be pretty strong in that previous turn, though he might be switching out, anticipating the double target into the Kyogre, wanting to preserve that, try to get the Dialga in safely, and then be able to threaten the board state as it is. So if we see a double target into the Fini, that'll be a great switch from Cameron, but he is in a pretty negative spot now. We see that Tailwind.
Yeah, now Paul definitely still a lot less scared of that Dialga now that he has that speed control under his belt. But we're just going to see another Photon Geyser go into the Tapu Fini. This should do around 50%. And now, yeah, I'd say Cameron's position is a lot trickier than it was before. I definitely think the Dialga switch in, it was risky, but it would have worked out really well in his favor had that Salamence not gotten that Tailwind up.
Cameron was really hoping to see that double target, but I think the Tailwind on Paul's end made a lot of sense, because even if the Kyogre stayed in, went for an Ice Beam on the Salamence, if he got the Tailwind up, then
the free switch
into Groudon, put out Precipice Blades into the Kangaskhan, which was weakened, Kyogre, which took a Photon Geyser, but right now we just see that Double Edge take out that take out that Tapu Fini, Earth Power take out that Dialga, and it's looking like a strong railroading from Paul right after this Tailwind goes up, with that Kangaskhan and Kyogre in the back.
Yeah, Paul has just been able to chip everything on Cameron's side of the field to the point where he can just start basically clicking buttons at this point. He's now has the Z move pressure with that Ultra Necrozma, able to pick up a KO on that Kangaskhan and get Kyogre pretty close to being KO'd.
All he has to do is knock out the Kangaskhan, and if there's Groudon in the back, the Kyogre, it's just a wrap.
An easy setup for the end game here. So probably just going to see a double protect here from Paul's side to stall out a fake out.
Seems pretty safe.
Yeah, and he still has one more turn of Tailwind to make use of, but his Pokemon are still naturally faster than Cameron's, so Tailwind not going to be...
Yeah, he doesn't need it anymore.
He doesn't really need it anymore.
So I don't see what Cameron can do to get out of the situation, but I do look forward to seeing his adjustments going into Game 2. He let the Tailwind go up, but I don't see that there was that much he could have done to stop it. So hopefully we might see, or maybe we might see that Zapdos or something on Cameron's side of the field to match Tailwinds in order to have a little bit more offensive pressure. Zapdos is also a strong response to Salamence depending on the set. It resists the Double Edge, and it's immune to many of the earthquakes we've been seeing a lot of the Salamence carrying. It takes a lot of damage from Necrozma, but Zapdos...
double protect here.
So Kangaskhan revealing Protect is really interesting. I don't necessarily agree with showing it right now, but we do see the Ultra Burst Z animation into the Kicak. I don't think I agree with... I don't think I would have revealed that Protect right now.
Yeah, I mean, he revealed it last turn. He's actually got the double this turn.
Oh, did he Protect last turn? I'm so sorry. Yeah. I even noticed.
Oh, yeah, so he revealed it last turn.
But when I revealed it last turn, I
yeah. Yeah, instead of going for Fake Out, he went for Protect, and he actually got the double this turn, I guess. But this Z move here probably going into the Kyogre, as Double Edge would have easily been able to pick up the Kangaskhan from that range. This shouldn't KO, I don't believe.
It won't. It's not in terrain.
It's not in terrain. Kyogre reasonably able to live this, but...
It's supposed to use the water spouts.
Yeah.
But I am interested in seeing if Game 2 Cameron goes for a Zapdos adjustment, because it resists Stack, it resists Ments, and it's immune to Groudon most likely in the rain. So if you can get out that sort of board positioning... Oh, that still did so much damage. What is his Kyogre? That did so much. Ice Beam, this will be interesting damage.
KO, yep.
See, to note for future games what the rolls are against Necrozma, but he did take the knockout. Do we see the triple protect from the Kangaskhan?
At this point, I don't know how many protects are going to save him at this point, because right here we see Groudon coming in, Kyogre. I mean, Ice Beam is still a good move in this situation.
Stack is in the back.
Stack is in the back. Definitely going to need... I wonder if he has, since he has Protect on his Kangaskhan, is he potentially sacrificing a coverage
Most
move?
likely a coverage move.
Yeah.
He can't... I think we saw Fake Out. No, we didn't.
Yeah, I don't think
we
he
saw.
ever revealed
We never
Fake
saw Fake Out. We saw Double Edge. We saw Bite. We saw Protect. So we don't know what Kangaskhan's fourth move is. I really, really, really disagree with revealing the Protects in that endgame. Cameron should have realized that there was most likely a Groudon on the back, that there was a Stack in the back, and what his positioning was. I think he should have saved it. That being said, we see a pretty clean win from Paul. There are definite adjustments Cameron can make. I think one thing that really messed with his position was locking into Dialga too early, whereas I believe if he can take out early damage, Dialga would have been pretty strong against preventing the Ments from setting up a Tailwind.
Right.
Being able to just pressure an Oko being faster than it.
Yeah, I think Dialga can actually be a really crucial part of this game. I think it puts a lot of pressure on the Tailwind option from Paul's side, but it also puts pressure on his decision to whether or not he wants to Ultra Burst that Necrozma. Yeah. And that not having that Z move pressure on the board is really big because you're just sacrificing a whole potential lot of damage that can score some key KOs down the stretch. So I think just like not having, I think definitely playing smarter with the Dialga and just not committing too hard to that Draco Meteor and turn 1 and just allowing Dialga to take too much damage. And like you said, potentially bringing that Tailwind option could be really good for Cameron here.
So now we can see the Pokemon in its entirety. Cameron's team was Dialga, Feeny, Kyogre, Ferrothorn, Zapdos, Kangaskhan, and Paul's was Ultra Necrozma, Jumpluff, Tapu Lele, Salamence, Stack Attack, and Groudon. One interesting interaction from Game 1 is that Cameron locked himself in the Draco Meteor, but had Tapu Fini in the back. There was no Tapu Lele that Paul brought, so one thing that might be difficult is actually landing Dragon moves against the Ultra Necrozma, because it gets weakened Dragon moves in Misty Terrain.
Right.
Which is why I feel like he was potentially trying to should have been prioritizing the Ments. But we'll see if any adjustments are made going in, and we see the Zapdos already
coming in. Yep. So Cameron leading once again with that Choice Scarf Dialga and bringing in his Zapdos here, as we see the Groudon and Necrozma lead.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Paul just going immediately with his Groudon right here. Probably okay, so Groudon is able to more adequately pressure the Dialga, but we saw that Earth Power from Necrozma did a lot of damage game 1.
60-something%.
Yeah,
that's
still
crazy.
does a lot of damage, but this Groudon does have to be careful because this Dialga likely has something like Earth Power, which can deal a lot of damage to it. However, Zapdos isn't really doing a whole lot.
It can't do anything with Groudon right now.
Unless it's carrying something potentially like Hidden Power Water.
Yeah, with a Kyogre in the back.
Yeah.
But, if Paul lets himself, if that is the case and Paul lets himself eat it, don't see a really strong momentum switch going into the second half, into this game. Otherwise Zapdos can be setting himself Tailwind or something along those lines. We do see the Dialga switch straight to the Kyogre, which can only mean one thing to me, Eric.
Yeah, it seems like we might be seeing a Hidden Power coming out from the Zapdos here, or Cameron just wants to
get the Kyogre in when it can, take an Earth Power of sorts. Yeah. Either Precipice Blades, get Tailwind up, go for Origin Pulse, something along those lines. But there'll be one thing will be way cooler.
If we see this Hidden Power here,
and
but Paul potentially scared of that option, getting
doesn't
that
let it
out
happen
here. Probably gonna switch into something.
Like the Tapu Lele now. So both of them made adjustments.
Yeah. So that probably replaces. I would say Stack Attacker.
Most likely.
Yeah. I think Salamence.
We do see the HP Water
going into the Tapu Lele.
It could technically be like HP Ice, so they did way too much damage. That's HP Water. That Photon Geyser is about to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be good damage here for Paul going into that Zap. That's a critical hit.
No, I don't even think it is. It's just physical.
Really?
It's physical.
Oh,
it's a physical Photon Geyser because the Ultra
it's the
Cross
terrain.
Was still strong. It's terrain boosted.
That Lele switched in.
It's physical. That did so much damage. The Tapu Leles on these teams are typically scarce, so that Zapdos looks like it's about to...
Probably not going to live a hit here.
Yeah, most likely not. I don't think 6 HP is not doing too much for it. The Kyogre is not in a great position either because of Groudon in the back, and it's at risk of just eating another Photon Geyser Psychic Terrain. I cannot believe that damage. Zapdos looks so good.
And now it's not looking too good.
It's protecting for some reason.
But now we see Magic Room actually coming out from the Lele here. Not sure exactly what Paul is predicting here. Maybe trying to I would agree with that play if I would see the reasoning for it if maybe that the Zapdos had like a barrier or something, but it doesn't
turns
look like
off the Dialga's Choice Scarf in the back.
That's also a fair point. That's actually a very clever play coming out from Paul.
It turns off the Dialga's Choice Scarf in the back. If Mence comes in, he puts out a lot of pressure right now. He has the Z. Exactly. Mence is coming in. If it Mega Evolves, it can threaten the knockout on the Zapdos and the Z move from the Ultra Necrozma, or just Z move into Protect plus the Photon Geyser against the Kyogre. Threatens the knockout there. Now that Dialga's not Choice Scarfed in the back, it's unlikely for it to be able to threaten the Okos, so I don't even think Mence needs to go for a Tailwind right now. It just looks like Paul has faster Pokemon and can go for damage.
Yeah, I think Paul just in a position once again where he doesn't necessarily need the speed control. He can just kind of start throwing out attacks here. And if the Salamence does carry something like Hyper Voice, it can pick up that knockout on that Zapdos, get the chip damage on Kyogre, and potentially put it in range of that Z move. We're just going to see the Protect come out.
It does carry the Hyper Voice. I feel like that's a new addition. I remember it being Double Edge Earthquake at Atlantic City, so I do think that's a change. Yeah. Hyper Voice is excellent in that position because it takes the knockout on the Zapdos. We're probably going to see the Z move from the Ultra Necrozma go straight into that Kyogre, thinking that the Z move plus through Protect, the Hyper Voice, and then the subsequent Photon guys would be enough to knock it out.
Yeah.
One fun thing that just happened is Mence went before the Ultra Necrozma.
It did.
Which goes to show how bulky these are being run at right now. Ultra Necrozma base 129 speed, Salamence is base 120, and Mence are almost always max speed.
Yeah. From the Ultra Necrozmas that I've been seeing, this is an interesting development here because normally the Necrozmas that I've been seeing, they usually EV to be fast. That's usually Mega Salamence is a benchmark for them.
You see Mence as a benchmark, but the benchmarks seem to be going down and down and down and down right now.
Yeah.
I remember at a regional, even one of my Rayquaza outrunning an Ultra Necrozma, so that's a very interesting development. Look at that damage. While it looks like it's not that much, that's a special move through Protect against the Kyogre.
Yeah. It is also.
And it did like 25%.
Yeah. 25% through the Protect.
Would have killed it.
Of 25% of Kyogre's health right there.
Would have knocked it out. Dialga's in.
In comes Dialga. I'm not sure. Is Paul going to be able to KO this Dialga with what he has on the field?
Considering the Earth Power that went out before and how much damage it did, and the fact that we know that Dialga's Choice Scarfed and probably doesn't have Protect, I believe a Double Edge Earth Power would get it because the Earth Power is going to do drastically more damage. I think even Hyper Voice Earth Power will get it.
Yeah, because now he has the Neuroforce on deck.
Yep.
So now we have the Kyogre switching out here, going back into Kangaskhan. Dialga, definitely going to be a huge target from this turn going forward. Double Edge is going to go into the Kangaskhan. That actually picks the knockout from full.
Well, it hadn't Mega'd yet, so it hadn't gotten the bulk boost yet. Cameron really hopes he eats this. He didn't. That Double Edge and Photon Geyser went into the Kyogre slot.
That's still a 2-hit KO.
Took a monstrous amount of damage, but if it takes the knockout on the Ultra Necrozma right now, he did not. He went for the Mence. That I am mixed towards. But if Groudon comes in, and if Groudon is faster than Cameron's Kyogre, and we do still have a Scarf. Oh, I guess the Scarf is still not live. But it's a Kyogre Dialga 1v1. Kyogre Dialga 2v2 against Ultra Necrozma Groudon. I think that's still in Groudon's favor, even in the rain.
Yeah, this is a bit awkward for Cameron now because now he can't pivot out his Dialga to get rid of those special attack drops, and that kind of limits Dialga's usefulness in this game. So Paul definitely. We're going to see Kyogre is going to be faster than the Groudon.
Has Groudon come? Yeah, Groudon had come in yet. So that's good to know for the future, but it seems even less likely that it matters now. Now that the sun is up, I don't think Paul has much to do besides Precipice Blades and Photon Geyser until things leave the building.
Yeah, pretty much just click attacks until the game ends.
Pew 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 is about to come out of Paul Chua with a pretty skillful 2-0 victory. Cameron had a lot of unconventional choices, but I think that he did not consistently get the damage that he needed to or set up the positions. So I think, for example, if Cameron turn 1, instead of going for the greedy HP Water into the Groudon, went for a Tailwind and switched into Kyogre, he would have had more options moving forward. But instead of he was going for damage that didn't necessarily pan out, as we can see here.
Yep, the single target blade's not going to be quite enough, but definitely on the next turn.
Fire Punch will knock it out from here, and it looks like a strong, clean sweep from Paul Chua. So well played on his end.
Yeah, Paul just doing a really good job of reading into Cameron's plays there. Just a lot of the things, a lot of like the real like hard plays that would have paid off big time if they had like worked out. Just Paul was able to see right through it and just capitalize and just put himself in a prime position to win the game.
And that's one of the things that you see from top players like Paul, is that they're not leaving themselves open to things. There are ideas that people might have that look really good in particular board states. Switch in Kyogre, HP Water the Groudon, something along those lines. But it's, even if it's not the case, even if that Zapdos didn't have HP Water, Paul still wasn't leaving his Groudon vulnerable to eat it that turn.
Yeah.
So he was putting himself in a position where he brings in the Lele. He knows he's not taking a knockout that turn. from the Pokemon that Cameron had on the field, Dialga Zapdos. So Lele's a free switch into the Groudon, can neutralize the Dialga's Choice Scarf with Magic Room, and also protect himself from the HP Water. And by making a switch like that, leaving his Groudon safe from that HP Water happening, he took all the momentum from Cameron, because Cameron took a turn where he could have set up Tailwind and decided to take a cheeky knockout instead.
Yeah.
So it's positions like that that really change the state of the board and really show who's coming out on top in those games.
Yeah.
But congrats to Paul for taking that set.
And with that, we are done with round 1. We will wait for the rest of the matches to finish up, and we will be right back with round 2 from the Gaithersburg MSS. We'll see you guys in a bit.
All right.